Rescue crews are now in the fourth day of searching for a 92-year-old hiker missing in Allegheny State Park. As News 4's Nalina Shapiro reports, rescuers hope a new description of where he was last seen will help their cause.
Hamilton got lost in the park on Wednesday while hiking with his 66-year-old daughter, Rebecca Huffman. When Hamilton was too weak to continue, his daughter walked to safety the next morning and called for help. On Sunday, she came back to the park and handed police this picture she drew of a mysterious concrete structure. Police say Hamilton was last seen about 100 feet from this structure. But here's the problem. Right now, officials can't find it.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode. This time, we invite you to join us as we discuss some of the absolute strangest missing person cases that we've ever encountered. These stories are beyond strange and mysterious. None have any rational or scientific explanation, yet, according to those that experienced them, they actually happened. So sit back, relax, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you have theories on any of these? If so, please share. We'd love to hear them. Missing 92-year-old and the mysterious structure nobody can identify. On November 10, 2010, 66-year-old retired nurse Rebecca Huffman and her 92-year-old father, Reverend Thomas Hamilton, got lost while hiking in the Allegheny State Park. They walked for miles through dark woods, climbed up hills on their hands and knees, and were freezing cold. The very next day, Rebecca walked to safety and called for help. She stated that her father was too weak to continue, so she told him to stay put and not move. Search and rescue was immediately deployed to the area, and there was no sign of her father, Thomas. The next day, Rebecca came back to the park and handed police a picture she drew of a mysterious concrete structure about 6 feet in width and about 15 to 20 feet wide. It was a 3-foot-high structure that you can walk into and be standing on a rock-like floor. Thomas was last seen about 100 feet from the structure. But there was a huge problem. Officials were never able to find this mysterious structure that his daughter Rebecca described. A massive 8-day search conducted by hundreds of volunteers, police officers, firefighters, and K-9 units over 5,000 acres of the park turned up nothing. Strangely enough, 2 years later, his remains were found 500 feet from where the search and rescue crews started their official search. The mysterious structure has never been located. Linda Artega and the people hiding in the bushes. On September 22, 2012, Linda Artega and her brother Eddie Huff set out for a day's hiking in the Arkansas Ozarks. The area in which they were hiking was an area that they both frequented. However, during their hike, Eddie suddenly found himself in an unfamiliar area. Eddie looked up through the trees, hoping to find some degree of positioning from the mountains around them, and when he looked beside him, Linda had simply vanished. When Eddie eventually returned home, he seemingly had no memory of what had happened in the park. A search party was sent into the forest to find Linda, but with winter temperatures beginning to set in and having left with barely any supplies at all, hope was fading fast. Linda would reemerge from the forest almost a week later. She appeared shocked and unnerved by whatever incident had unfolded and led her here. She would later claim, although the details were murky at best, that she came across people, but when she asked for help, they'd act like they didn't hear her. Linda says she remembered them looking right at her and not saying a thing. These people were hiding in the bushes, she says. They were following me but would not help me. In addition, Linda stated that dark figures appeared in the forest at dusk. They were like silhouettes that moved through the trees, but no matter how much she screamed, they couldn't hear her. She said they constantly watched her, but never acknowledged her calls for help. Linda said that she was just glad that the forest had finally released her. Casey Hathaway and the bear. 3-year-old Casey Hathaway disappeared from his great-grandmother's backyard on January 25, 2019. Casey was playing with 2 other relatives in his great-grandmother's backyard the day he went missing. When he didn't come inside when the others did, his family started searching for him. After 45 minutes passed, his grandmother called 911.
Okay, and what's going on there?
We lost my 2-year-old grandson that's walked in the woods back there and we can't find him. 3-year-old grandson.
Okay, so who's there with them?
His little sister.
You say he's 3-year-old?
Yeah, he's 3.
Okay.
The girls come to the house and left him there and he's walked off somewhere and we can't find him.
Okay, but you're not there at the house now?
I'm at the house, yeah.
Okay, and how long ago do you know he walked in there?
It's been at least 45 minutes, because we've been looking all in the woods for him.
And it's behind your house? Is it directly behind your house?
Yeah. Well, on the side, yeah.
Is he a white, black?
He's white.
Do you know what he was wearing?
Probably a black little coat.
A black coat?
Yeah.
Okay. Does he usually do this?
Huh?
Does he usually do this?
No.
Was he wearing pants?
Yeah, he had pants.
Was it jeans?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And you said about 45 minutes to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Is it a big area of woods behind your house?
Yeah, it's pretty big.
I think you've been out there looking for him?
Yes.
What is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we got a deputy headed to you, okay? And you said 45 minutes directly behind your house or side?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, if you see him, let us know. We have some deputies headed that way, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
He was walking in the woods back there and we can't find him, his great-grandmother told the 911 dispatcher. The other ones came through the house but left him there and he walked off somewhere and we can't find him. Search and rescue teams from across the state immediately came together to brave the treacherous terrain and low temperatures, hoping to find Casey. 3 days later, rescuers were still combing the woods when they heard the missing 3-year-old boy call out for his mother. In the emergency room, Casey started talking about what happened in the woods. He said he had a friend that was a bear. The bear took care of him and kept him warm while he was lost in the woods. Casey goes on to say that the bear also fed him berries. Now, the local sheriff stated that there are bears in the woods of Craven County, North Carolina, but there's no evidence to prove one was with Casey. He goes on to say, all that matters is that something was there to comfort Casey during the 3 days he was missing. Stephen Kubacki, missing for over a year. One February morning in 1978 near Lake Michigan, student Stephen Kubacki would venture out to indulge in several hours of skiing. However, when he still hadn't returned the following day, a huge search was put in motion. Strangely and ominously, footprints were discovered at a location where the student claimed to be heading. And what's more, they stopped right at the frozen water's edge. There was no sign of any markings on the frozen surface of the water, and no signs that the ice had been broken anywhere. Later that day, Stephen's skis and backpack were discovered. However, no other sign of Stephen came to light, and the searches were eventually called off. His family, while not giving up hope, were prepared for the worst. Then, over a year later, in early May 1979, Stephen would appear out of the blue on his parents' doorstep. He had very little memory of where he had been. He had awoken earlier that day in a field in Pittsfield, hundreds of miles from where he disappeared, and around 40 miles from the family home. Even stranger, he was wearing clothes that weren't his and had a strange bag of maps with him that he didn't recognize. Rather than compensate himself financially with the many offers from media people for his story, he instead retreated from the public, refusing to speak of the incident, of which he claimed he had no memory, and not wishing to undergo such things as hypnotic regression, as he wasn't experiencing any psychological problems and wished to keep it that way. Ambrose Smith, gone for 24 hours. Ambrose Smith normally played happily at home in Newaygo County, Michigan. But on October the 8th, 2013, Ambrose was sitting in the lounge with her father when he briefly left the room, and upon his return, she was nowhere to be found. A massive search involving hundreds of volunteers was immediately activated, covering the entire surrounding area. It wasn't until the next day that Ambrose was found a few miles from her home. Strangely, she was discovered in a location that had been extensively searched the previous day. How the little girl had managed to traverse such a huge distance and evade the search teams who sprang into action so soon after her disappearance remains a complete mystery. Zen Rang vanished while piloting an aircraft. On March 15, 2016, Zen Rang flew out of Ann Arbor in a 1984 Cessna 172P owned by the Michigan Flyers. When it was overdue to return, authorities were notified and the wreckage was found in a forested area near Manitowocc, Ontario, northeast of Munising, over Lake Superior. The downed Cessna he had been flying was found in a densely wooded area in Ontario the same day he rented the aircraft from a flying group at the Ann Arbor airport. But Zen was not at the scene of the crash, and there were no footprints in the snow to indicate that Zen was in the aircraft at the time it crash-landed. All the evidence indicates the aircraft was operating normally and crashed because it ran out of fuel. Authorities have theorized that at some point prior to the crash, Zen must have exited the aircraft while it was in the air. Searches around the crash site and along the route that the aircraft was known to have traveled were searched, and yet nothing was found. Another search was conducted in the Petoskey area where Zen's cell phone last pinged, but again, nothing was found. Zen Rang was an experienced pilot who was also a PhD candidate at the University of Michigan. As of this recording in June 2020, his whereabouts are still unknown, and his case remains a mystery. Well, folks, there you have it. What do you think of these cases? Make sure you let us know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends on social media. By liking and sharing our videos, you're helping our channel and videos to get noticed by the YouTube algorithm. Till we meet again, take care of yourselves and each other. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'll talk to you next time.